87%. Yeah, that's the percentage of all real estate agents that get in the business today that'll be gone in 2 years. Let me tell you something. Why is there so much turnover in real estate? Because it isn't easy. And because most people don't know exactly what they need to do to get to the next level. Now look, regardless of whether you're brand new to the industry or you're a team leader, you've got 40 people on your team and you just want to get to the next level. If you're doing 10 transactions a year, you want to get to 25. You're doing 500 transactions a year, you want to get to 1,000. You're at 1,000, you want to get to 10,000. Let me tell you something. You need the right coach. Why? Because Club Wealth is the only coaching company on the planet that will literally guarantee that you will double your income or make at least an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, or we will give you 100% of your investment back. This is for people of all levels. Click the link below, sign up for the appropriate tier level, and let's get you a strategy session today. And I promise you, I 100% guarantee you, promise you that you will walk away with a heart full of gratitude for the time that we took for you because you got so much value out of that call. Schedule your strategy session today. I promise you'll be glad you did. Jason Lash, and let me rephrase. I think it's pronounced, if I want to pronounce this correctly, I think it's pronounced Coach Jason going to lose to Michael in fantasy football, Lash. I'm pretty sure that's...
I think I am the number one seed and have the best record in the league.
Well, hold on. Are we tied yet?
To go there.
Are you still a game ahead of me?
At night, I can look at myself in the mirror and didn't have to manipulate. It's just like I made honest to goodness moves like I do every year. And I'm still number one. I got more wins than you. So
did I break the rules? Was there a rule that I broke? Is there anywhere written that I?
If you can look at yourself in the mirror, you did not break any rules. If your moral compass says this is okay, forget the rules. But if your moral compass says it's okay, I'm okay with it too, Michael. It's to you. It's fine. You're okay.
I'm just telling you, like, just the fact that I was able to bring greater value to the other members of the fantasy league than other people. And that they felt compelled because of the value that I brought them to share with me great trades that allowed me to have quite a phenomenal team, I must say, doesn't make me a cheater. It simply makes me, well, a winner.
This went viral, and we're not live right now.
Oh, we're live. No, we're live right now.
Oh, we are live?
Yeah.
There's a viral story about there was another trade that really happened that I probably shouldn't tell since we're going live, apparently. We need to start a disclaimer when we're going live here because Lord knows what we come out of my mouth. It says it right on
your screen. It should say that we're live.
It says recording. It doesn't say live, but it's all right.
Oh, it doesn't? Oh, geez.
No.
Yeah, we're live on Facebook.
Oh, okay. All right, we're live.
Oh my gosh. Well, for those of you who don't know Coach Jason Lash, he is a Club Wealth coach. He's a very, very successful real estate agent in a place, and I know it says Michigan, so he handles pretty much all of Michigan, but he lives in a place called Grand Rapids, which if you've ever been to Grand Rapids in the middle of the winter, you might never go back. I don't know. It's pretty cold there, and they get a lot of snow. And so, but
it's beautiful when you're inside. It's the most beautiful part of the country inside.
Inside. Yeah, I'll tell you though. Truly, your fall, your spring, your summers are gorgeous. But Jason is in. If I remember, you're in Tier 5. Is that correct?
Yep.
So Tier 5 means that Coach Jason is closing as a real estate agent anywhere from 250 to 500 transactions a year. And he's one of the smartest people I know in this industry. And most specifically, it's not even just about how many transactions Jason closes. It's about how much money he nets. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because so many people, they get so focused on just, I got to do more transactions, got to do more transactions, got to do more transactions. And that's great. All about you guys doing more transactions, but you've got to keep some of the money you make. And Jason, you've been really good at that. And I want to talk for a minute about what are some of the things you do to hold your money accountable? How are you assuring that you're netting as much as humanly possible?
So I'm going to be very transparent here. I'm going to say something on video that I've never said. So this year over year, I'm actually down almost 100 units.
Oh,
okay.
You're talking about closings.
Closings. Yeah, it's closings. Yeah. So I'm down. So those Tier 5, those numbers are last year. We had there was some stuff that happened this year, and at that day, I'm the leader. It's my fault, so I'm taking responsibility. I fixed the problems, and everything's good. But year over year, I just had a call with Mike, with Coach Donnie, and it was like, yeah, I'm down about 100 units year over year. But do you know what? You want to know something? And of course, I made cutbacks in a lot of different areas of my personal life. But the reason why I still have a house And cars is because of savings. And I had reserves. And if I didn't have that, I would probably have to go get a real job. I mean, it's like, what do we have to do here? So, or something dramatically would have had to change while I had to completely take a step back this year. And it took about 6 months to completely reset my business. Mm-hmm. So, and going back to that, so we're talking about net. If I'm not making enough on my transactions, I don't have savings. It all lines, all these dominoes in place. I don't know if it allows, but I just, I make sure we maximize our value on all of our deals on the ways we sell homes to make sure we net as much. So I make sure I had enough savings. So thank God I made it through this year. And then also what happened was that when I was selling houses this year, we were maximizing our income in those, not just me, but the agents on the team. And again, so we made it through this year, and I'm really, really excited for next year. I got a fat pipeline, and we're real excited for next year. We're back. I'm back, baby.
I love it, dude. And I love where this conversation is going. And let me just say this first and foremost. There's a lot of gurus out there right now that are giving what I think is horrible advice. And I'm just going to call Grant Cardone out as one of them. And I don't think that I think you've got to really understand what he's saying. But I hear these people that are saying, I don't keep any money in savings. I just throw all that back into investing as fast as I can. And every dollar I make, I invest, and every dollar I make, I invest. And it's and then there's another one out there, Ryan Pineda, who I think, both these guys are very smart guys. They've both been very, very successful. But then, Ryan's out there saying, I only buy for, I'll buy any real estate. I'm buying. And he's trying to get good deals, but he's buying for appreciation. He's telling people, don't worry about buying for cash flow now, just buy for appreciation. And man, that scares the crap out of me. And these guys all like to criticize, and I'm saying pretty much all the investor gurus out there right now that have done really well over this last decade have been criticizing, Dave Ramsey, and his whole, debt-free living lifestyle type stuff. And it concerns me because they're basically saying you don't need any savings. And Jason, you and I have both failed before. Yep. We've both We're going
to fail again too, by the way, Michael.
What's that?
We're not done. I'm not done failing. I'm not done screwing up.
You're right about that. Neither one of us are. And I'm not saying that like I hope I fail. I'm just saying.
Well, the reason why we're going to do it is because we're going to keep taking chances. We're going to keep reinvesting, and sometimes it's not going to work. So I'm not failing. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And so having failed, and this is having failed, what have you learned? And obviously saving money is part of that, but tell me, I want you to go a little bit deeper on that, because there's so few people that have set enough money aside to weather any kind of a storm whatsoever. So much of America is living paycheck to paycheck that any little blip on the radar comes along and they're in financial ruin. So what have you learned along these lines? What do you recommend to the people watching? First of all, there's something you said there triggered something, and I don't know the exact numbers. Warren Buffett talked about having so many millions of dollars in liquid cash in case there's an opportunity. So if you're taking all of your money and investing it as soon as it comes in, and you don't have reserves, which this goes back to what we're talking about, you're going to miss out on opportunities. So that's another reason why you need reserves. I have no problem. I think you and I have talked before about resetting our zero. I have no problem going further into my savings if there's a phenomenal opportunity and I can afford it. So that it kind of leans back to that. I completely agree with you. I'm not a big Dave Ramsey guy, but I do disagree with the other people are saying there, Grant Cardone and so forth. So with all that being said, what was the question again, Michael? What have I learned? Well, what would you suggest these people? First of all, how much savings do you think someone should have? Is it? That's such a phenomenal question. I don't think anybody should be self-employed unless you have 3 to 6 months reserves. Minimum. If you're really, really good with your money, you can probably get away with 2.5 to 3 months. If you don't have that amount of money in reserves, or if you're not that good with money, you should make it 6 months. Truly believe that with a passion. I don't want that to scare anybody to say, I'm not getting my real estate license until I have 3 months reserves. Mm-hmm. No, then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have a side hustle. You're going to have to be waiting tables, driving Uber. There's a million different jobs you can do, even with a freaking app on your phone. So doing that, but you're living on beans and rice. You're not going out to dinner. You're not going to to a nice steakhouse or anything like that. You're saving your money until you get that. Now, the minute you get to the amount of reserves, you have to quit that second job.
Okay, so let's back up. First of all, when you say reserves, you say 3 to 6 months. Is that of my normal income? Is that of my expenses? Is that what 3 to 6 months of what? That's
great. So your monthly nut. Okay, yeah. So I had all my bills. Here's my bills. This is my monthly nut. And so I spend $2,000 a month. I need a minimum of $6,000 in the bank. Yeah. If I'm not good with my money, I'm going to make that $12,000.
Yep. Yeah. No, I love it. That's right. And that's exactly how I feel. I would agree with those numbers. Which, by the way, by most people's accounts, especially these people that have been making all this money in the last decade, they would probably disagree with that. And what I think people need to remember is what's really happened in the last decade. And let's talk real estate specifically, and frankly, the stock market too. But what's really happened in the last decade? It's been pretty freaking good. I mean, it's in terms of real estate, whether it's sales or investing in real estate, it's never been better than this last decade. It's super easy. And everybody won. If you just bought, the market made you successful, right? All you had to do was buy. They didn't see massive depreciation. They didn't see declines in values. They didn't see, foreclosure, major foreclosures. They didn't go through a lot of the stuff that you and I have been through, and a lot of people have been through. And I'm not trying to be Chicken Little here, but at the same time, and I don't know when. I think this year's probably going to be a good year. I want to know your predictions for 2024. I think it's going to be good. Well, let's start with this. I want to hear your predictions first. What do you think? What happens in 2024?
I mean, I love that people talk about numbers being down or whatnot, and in our association, I think it's down 27% year over year. But you're comparing that to the best of all time. I mean, 2022 was the best one, so we had no place to go but down. So are we down? Yeah, technically we are down. Yeah. Still a solid year, still a great year compared to in this year to like 2015 and 16, 17, which also were good years. So if 2022 never happened, we would be saying we had a phenomenal year this year. My personal prediction is I feel overall transactions are going to continue to decline. Traditionally, when we do go into election years, people get anxiety and they want to see what happens. So that's just traditionally over the years, over all my years in the industry, election years are never good for real estate transactions. Now, with that being said, there is opportunities. That doesn't mean there's opportunities. When as a great coach, I can't remember his name. He says something like, "Where there's chaos, there's opportunity." I'll think of it after this call, and I'll let you know who it is so you can read his book. Anyway, but there's opportunities for team leaders. There's opportunities for team leaders to recruit. I mean, my market, I got so many agents looking. My calendar's filled with appointments of just meeting with agents. There's opportunities for that. Frankly, leads get cheaper. With this, the cheapest time to get leads was during COVID. Leads are so flipping cheap. My Google pay-per-click leads are coming at about $1.25 each. I loaded up on them. So there's opportunities that are coming for those who are aggressive. For those who are going to sit there and stare at the computer, stare at social media, and wait for things to come to them, they're going to do less. Those agents that were doing 4, 5, 6, 7 transactions, their business is going to go down, while us other agents are going to grab that market share.
I think you're absolutely right about that piece of it. 100%. I really do. I'm going to challenge you on part of this for just a second. I think that the transaction count may go up in 2024, and I'll tell you why. Interest rates are already way down. I mean, they're coming back fast, and I mean, you look at it.
It's going down. I see us knocking on the door of the 4s before this is all said and done.
Well, I mean, I'm already seeing. I was talking to Madison. For those of you that don't know Madison Hellickson, Paulinchuk is my daughter. She's a branch manager of a mortgage company, and I was talking to her, and she says she's already seeing owner-occupied loans right now. She's locking them in the 5s, and that's right now in the 5s. Which 3 months ago, no way. I mean, even a month ago, that wasn't happening. We're seeing non-owner occupieds in the 6s. We're seeing, like the rates are coming down very, very quickly. Donnie was just on talking about he's buying, he's got 3 that he's picking up right now, and it's a full 1% lower than it was 60 days ago on the one he bought 60 days ago. And so I think interest rates are going to have a tremendous impact, and I think that it's not only going to bring in some buyers that weren't in the marketplace before, but I also think that it's going to free up some listing inventory, because I think there's people that have been sitting on their properties and have not listed those properties for sale, because, why would I trade my 2.5-3% interest rate for an 8% interest rate? But if I could trade my 3% interest rate for a 5% interest rate, and I can get the house I really want, move to where I really want to live or whatever, maybe I do that. And let's back up. So first of all, what do you think about that? Do you think that dynamic could be happening? Because I'm feeling like there may be a perfect storm here for real estate agents, and this is one of those components.
Michael, we're just curious. What year did you get into real estate, if you don't mind me asking? 1991.
You're going to call me out on the fact that I'm freaking 51 here this next month. 1991. That's when I started selling.
What were mortgage rates in 1991? Do you remember?
I don't even remember. They were high. I was coming into a bad time.
I got in the business in the mid to late 90s, and it was 9%. I remember I actually started on the mortgage side like Madison was doing, and I remember writing 12, 13, 14% interest rates, and people were buying and selling. It was actually a seller's market then, technically, when rates were in the nines. So you're right. There's going to be some people going to enter the market here because the interest rates there. I just haven't, through my history, I haven't seen interest rates be a reflection as to the real estate market like some people might think it is. And there's going to be some, and there's some that are not there. People buy and sell based on lifestyle, whether they have a job, a good paying job, things like that are more important. We have bad job markets. We have no real estate going on. Mm-hmm. And I might be a little concerned about our job market. Political climate has impact on those things. So there will be some people that will be like, oh, great, rates are down, I can sell now. And rates are getting cheaper and I can sell now. So I just, my personal experience in the history that I've seen sellers markets when rates were in the 8s and 9s. The great real estate markets.
I'll buy that. That makes sense. I can see that. Okay.
Now, there is an opportunity. You should be talking to Madison. There's a wonderful opportunity for all lenders out there to be refinancing. There is a refinance boom going on right now that I'm hearing about. And if there's any lenders watching this, you need to be all over that right now. There's a lot of money. I think the mortgage industry is a wonderful industry to be in next year. That's a phenomenal. That's going to be a phenomenal sector in our business next year.
100% agree. I mean, anybody that bought this last year should be refinancing right now or next year, the very latest.
Any lender watching this, if you did a mortgage 6 months ago or 3 months ago, refinance them right now. Pay for their appraisal. Get it done.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the money they'll save is ridiculous. And so, I 100% agree with you. And yes, I'm very grateful for her for that. That being said, another dynamic that I think is really going to impact the real estate agents that are watching. And by the way, those of you that are watching, I see we got a bunch of people watching. Type into the Facebook chat. I'm following the Facebook chat here. I've tagged Jason in the chat, by the way. Jason, if you want to follow it as well, ask your questions there in the chat. Jason and I would love to answer your questions. But Jason, one of the other dynamics that I think is happening is, you've had a lot of agents get out of this business for a number of reasons this year. And I think more this year than in the last decade and a half. And so as I look at that, and I should say at least the last decade, we'll call it. And so now we're coming into a year where I think we're going to see good interest rates. I think, we're going to be, to your point, at least down in the 5s, maybe even the 4s. And if we get down in that range in time for spring, summer, I think we see a good spring, summer buying season, and I think that it's possible that'll again free up some inventory. But now you bring in more transaction count. There's a whole lot fewer agents to handle it. So I think that for the agents that hung in there and that are building their pipelines actively, I think that means really, really good years for them. What are your thoughts, or at least a good year?
And that's exactly what it is here. So and again, I'm going to keep to my opinion that transaction count's going to be down here, or equal to down. But those who are aggressive, that are grabbing market share, that are on the phones, that's so important. But the ones that are on the phones, the teams that are spending the money on lead generation and marketing and advertising, there's phenomenal opportunities. I'm excited for 2024. I'm ready for 2023 to be over. I ran my numbers here about a month or so ago, and I said, holy smokes, I'm going to have a phenomenal year, being conservative on my projections for next year. And I'm super excited about it because I am one of those people that is going out lead generation, that's coaching our agents, and there's a lot of opportunity for both grow teams and also do transaction counts. If you're an aggressive agent, your business will be phenomenal next year. Again, if you're going to be one of those agents that sits around and waits for people to just send you business or referrals, I think those people are going to have a challenge.
By the way, got Coach Constantine Safras out of Sacramento, California, is watching and commenting right now. He says, Jason and Michael are on point. And yeah, Jason, I agree with what you just said, man. I mean, I think it's going to really come down to, and thank you for that, Constantine. I think it's going to come down to how aggressive they are with the process, and how aggressively are people getting out there and prospecting, making those phone calls, holding open houses, posting on social media, and all the things that can be done as a real estate agent to be very, very, very active in the marketplace. And the people that are doing it are going to have a great year. And the people that aren't.
Picking up the freaking phone.
Well, and that's
picking up the phone.
Yes.
Pick up the phone. I got a money machine. Pick up the phone.
Well, yes. But I'm going to, first of all, yes. I want to challenge you on that too, just a little bit, which is funny coming from me because, I'm a phone guy. But I want to challenge you just a tiny bit on that. AI. I know you've been dabbling in a little bit of AI with Club Wealth. I know you've seen what it can do. I know you've seen what it can do. Like when you started playing with it, you were very early in the process. And so you saw it when it was rough and hardcore. Now it's getting even smoother. It's getting more effective. I know Coach Don Sharp, one of our coaches, is just crushing it with our AI.
I coached Don. We just got off the call. We were talking about AI 15 minutes ago. So
it's killing us. Okay, so then tell us how does AI play a role in this? Because we've got this conversational AI now that it's hard to tell you're even talking to a computer.
I'm a little worried about AI. It might be a little bit different than reasons why everybody else is. I'm wondering if AI is creating lazy people and lazy agents.
100%
agree.
Sure.
And what AI needs to do, it needs to put the ball in the tee and tell me I got to go up there and swing. That's what it should be doing. I think people think this is the new agent will be artificial intelligence, will be the new real estate agent or lender. And I'm worried that it's going to create lazier agents on that. So I love where it's going. I'm a big technology. You know me, I'm all about technology. That's my love language there. I can really geek out over this stuff here. I'm all over AI. I got all sorts of ideas of what when the technology is ready to be there. And you guys are doing some phenomenal. You guys are doing, and I've researched it on. You guys are at the top of the game right now of anybody in the industry, anyways.
Thank you.
So you guys are doing some phenomenal stuff. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that AI should help you. It's not going to replace you. If you're said, I'm going to sign up for all these texting services and Chris is my virtual AI phone caller there. If I'm going to do that instead of me picking up the phone, you're going to be really, really disappointed. I don't think that technology will ever replace the agent.
Okay, so hold on. First of all, I agree with everything you say except for the last sentence. I'm not going to say it's going to. Let me back up. I'm not saying that I think AI is going to replace the agent. Do I think it's possible? I think it's possible that it will replace low-level agents. Do I think that it's possible that it's going to replace a high-level expert advisor to someone that's buying lots of real estate or high-end real estate, or someone who takes this very seriously and wants an expert advisor on their side? No, I don't. I think they want a real person. I mean, look at travel agents, right? I mean, if AI can replace real estate agents, it could certainly replace travel agents a lot easier. And travel agents still exist, and they still make a lot of money. And I could name other businesses that are similar. It does. Look, and you're right. We've got an AI company that we own, and we're neck deep in AI. And I'm not going to lie, it scares me. I mean, I'm not I don't know what Elon Musk knows about it, but I can tell you that he's scared of it. And I can tell you, man, haven't seen behind the curtains a little bit here. There's no wizard pulling the strings anymore. It's just the computer pulling the freaking strings. I keep coming back to this. There was that computer. Did you hear about this computer in Europe? I think it was. I want to say it was in Germany. There were two computers. Were you the one that told me this?
Yeah, they invented their own language and they start communicating without telling the humans. And they had unplug the computers because they started their own. There was a documentary in the 80s made actually on this called Terminator. So
documentary, I love it. But I mean, really, yeah, I mean that thing in Germany. I mean, you think about that.
Yeah, no,
they pulled the plug. Dude, the computers were talking to each other in a language we couldn't understand, and they didn't tell. I mean, like, at what point do we need to be seriously concerned here? And I don't know the answer to that. But here's let's
the real problem is they'll regulate the good people, not the bad people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I heard just the other day, I heard a phone call where this person, this AI sounded like it was the person's daughter. Right. So what this person had done, the daughter had left a voicemail for some company out there or some person that captured her voice, caused the AI to sound like the daughter, had the daughter call the mom and say, Mom, I'm stuck in Africa and I need you to send me money. And literally conned the mom into sending money to Africa to take care of her daughter. And I'm telling you, man, like this could be used for some serious nefarious purposes. That being said, obviously that's not what we're doing with our AI. But I can tell you that I think low-level ISAs are going to become a thing of the past. I think why would I pay even a low-level ISA when I can have a virtual assistant? Dude, there was a call. Oh man, I'm tempted to play this call. I'll just tell you about the call. It was one of Don's calls. And the AI calls this person up, and this person's like, I'm not interested in selling my house. I don't want to sell my house. Most agents, most ISAs would have given up right then. They would have just fine. Okay, fine. You're not interested in selling your house. Great. AI asks them again in a different way. No, not interested in selling my house. I told you already, I'm not interested in selling. I have no interest in selling. Just leave me alone. Don't want to talk to you. Okay, great. Well, I can totally understand that. And the AI just keeps rolling with the conversation. No emotion about it whatsoever. It doesn't bother the AI, right? AI says the final times, AI says, I completely understand that you don't want to sell your house. I'm guessing when you first reach out, it was either to sell your house or was it so that you could just find the value of your house? And the lady on the phone says, well, actually, I really did want to just know the value of my home. And the AI says, well, fantastic. Well, why don't I have Dawn reach out to you and help you with the value of your home? And the person says, well, yeah, that'd be fantastic. And they end up setting an appointment with Dawn to have her talk to them about a value on her home. The reality is you and I both know anytime somebody's asking for a value of the home, they're either going to refinance or they're going to sell it sometime in the near future, right? And so what really struck me about this was the 3 no's to get to a yes, whereas most ISAs, most agents would have given up in that process. So 100%. So knowing that, I also agree with you that it can't be a replacement for the agent's activity because, again, you got to get that expert advisor on the phone with that person and in person with that person as soon as humanly possible. So what should an agent's day look like? What if I'm going to be successful coming into 2024? Okay, here we are coming into a year that's going to wipe even more agents out, and it's going to make some agents, I think, filthy rich. I think some agents are going to gain massive market share. I think they're going to have their best years ever, or up to this point in 2024. What's going to be the determining factor? What does an agent need to do?
I got an agent who's actually sending me messages right now. Just joined my team. His name's Remy. He made 325 dials in the pond yesterday.
Now, hold on. First of all, for those that don't know, the pond is basically just, you've got all these leads. And how many leads do you have right now that are in your system?
About 50,000. Our pond's about 50,000 people.
So 50,000 leads. These are leads that are not yet claimed by a particular agent on your team. They're people that have been talked to and they're now being nurtured because they may be not ready to do something just quite right yet. And so you're calling them and so forth. And so a new agent on your team gets access to these 50,000 leads and gets to call on them.
And he pulled 4 active buyers out of that. And he's been with us now for about 5-6 days. So I got Nikki on our team who's I think it's about 6 months or so in the business. We're on transaction 6 or 7. She's good for on a good day over 100 to 150. Hunter on my team just pended his first 2 deals. Again, he's making about 100 dials a day. So So going back here, so when I've seen the difference, and the difference between those who are really, really crushing it and those who aren't are being very, very intentional with the day. There's a couple things they're doing. They're getting up early. They're not rolling out of bed at 10 o'clock and checking Facebook and maybe going to the office, maybe not going to the office around lunchtime. So these people are all up at 7:30. They're going to the morning huddles and they're on the phone dialing at 8 o'clock. I say it's the 4 and 4. 4 hours a day on the phone, 4 open houses a week. You're going to sprint to success. If you're going to sit there all day long and go on Facebook and social media, and that's your form of prospecting, I'm sorry. I just don't see that. I mean, it's great. I love social media. I'm very loud on social media, but at the end of the day, it's actually this much part of my day. It's actually time blocked. I want to time block that time in, and that's it. But if you're on the phone for 4 hours a day and you're doing 4 open houses a week, that's 20 hours of dialing. That's all it takes. That's really all it takes. 20 hours of dialing and just do, a handful of open houses.
What cracks me up is that's really a part-time job, right? Now, 4 open houses, okay, so I'm going to add 4 open houses to that. And let's assume that it takes me, let's say 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours for each of these open houses. There's another 12 hours a week. So I'm at 32 hours a week. And the money that you can make as a real estate agent working 32 hours a week. But here's the reality. The reality is for every one person that makes a killing because they work in those 32 hours a week, which by the way, they end up working more because then they go on appointments and all that stuff as well, right? There's 1,000 that fail. And the reason I say that is because so many people that get into this business, and it's funny, Constantine says even more lazy. Yeah, like even more lazy, right? You look at, and Donnie was very particular. He said, well, Michael, let's not fault the real estate agents for this. Let's not say that it's just the real estate industry. It's our world. It's the country right now. We have bred generations now, 2 full generations of absolute laziness. And that's not to say that everybody in those generations are lazy. It just means that there's a greater propensity for laziness, a greater propensity for entitlement in these recent generations than ever before. And it's showing up in real estate. Would you agree with that?
One of the things that you said this while back, and I was wrong. Yeah, we were in a mastermind. You asked the whole group in the mastermind, what's more important, habits or discipline? I said, habits or motivation. Right. And I said motivation. And there's a lot of people that are very motivated right now, but they don't want to put the work in. And I was wrong about that. And I really thought about that a lot. You're 100% right. It's about having those habits. Yeah, I mean, there's such a sense of entitlement. People feel that they deserve this because for whatever reason, they deserve to be successful, and they deserve to do it without putting in the work. I'm disappointed that that's what our culture is turning into, but that is what it is. And there's still some of us out there that are willing to work. I just went on an expired listing and just listed a $500,000 property. I got that from picking up the phone. I had to call him 7 times. Finally got him on the phone. Ran right to the house. Got things signed right away. But that doesn't happen if I'm not working. But there's nothing special about me, Michael. The difference is that I have a habit of going out working and wanting to make the income for my wives. It's the agents and the people out there that don't have those habits. They're the ones that are struggling. They're the ones saying, I just want this. I deserve it. I'm so motivated. I really want to be successful. I want to do this, this, and this. Well, that's great. What are your habits?
So let me ask you that. And first of all, yes, I agree with that.
Hold on a second. I'm going to say something. Yeah. I am not motivated every day to get up at 8 in the morning.
That's what I was just going to ask.
I'm not motivated. There are days like, I just don't want to make another dial, but I know I have to. I really feel I need to. So there are a lot of days I've decided to take my health a little more seriously, and I've been working out straight now for a month. Every single morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm lifting weights, something I used to do, and I brought it back into my life. This morning, I was like, oh my God, should I take today off? I just get my feet on the ground, and then we'll go from there. So, and I don't always want to work out. I don't always want to pick up the phone. I want to take tomorrow off. I really would like to take tomorrow off. I'm not going to because I have to do this to hit my certain lifestyle for both me and my family.
I love that you just said that because that's literally what I was going to ask you. It's not about being motivated every day because you're not going to be. No one is I shouldn't say no one. I don't know anyone in my life that's motivated every day. I just don't. And I know some really, really successful people, and I can tell you they are not motivated every single day, right? They're motivated some days and some days more than others. But the reality is the people that are truly successful are the ones that they just do it anyway. And they may not do it at the highest level every day. And I think that's another fallacy. I look at Alex Hormozy as a great example, right? Alex is kind of a goofy guy. Do you know Alex, Jason?
I know him. I know who he is in social media.
Yeah, he's kind of a goofy guy, right? And I say goofy, super intelligent, a little bit quirky, has some things he just thinks very differently about, which a lot of very intelligent people think very differently about things than normal people, right? And that's probably part of the reason why they're successful. Well, in listening to Alex, he talks about times where he's been, not motivated at all, but he just shows up. And even if he's just going to the gym, for him, he's a big gym rat, right? For him, he might have just gone to the gym that day, not wanting to work out, but he might just show up, and that was success that day. Or, showing up and hitting the treadmill for 5 minutes. Okay, great. At least I showed up. I was at the gym, and then from there I can decide what's my next step. And it's the same thing in business. The propensity that people have to make money is going to be in direct correlation with whether or not they show up on a daily basis. And then it's going to come down to how focused are they on the things that will truly move the needle. I was just having a conversation with one of my team members about that today. And he says, well, don't you think I work hard? And I said, well, no, I do think you work hard. I think you work very hard. But there's a difference between working hard and being effective. I said, it's not enough to just work hard. I said, especially today, we have to be better than just working hard. We have to work hard doing the right things. And that means we have to look at our day and we have to decide what are the wrong things, because to have the time to do the right things, we've got to be able to cast aside the wrong things. So let me ask you this. Other than making calls, right? So I love your 4-4, right? You're making 4 hours of calls a day, 4 open houses a week. What are the right things for you? You're a team leader with 20 some odd people on your team. What are the right things for you every day that you find that you have to do to keep moving that needle and moving your business forward?
So when you have a real estate team, recruiting is obviously so important, and talking to agents here. So part of my 4 hours is actually on the phone talking to agents. And actually just and trying to set up as many coffee appointments and just networking in the business. So because I'm still in production, I'm also on the phone prospecting for business just like everybody else is. And by the way, if you're a team leader, if you're not willing to do what your agents are willing to do, that's part of leadership. Okay. We don't become team leaders so we don't have to work. So I want to, if anybody's watching this here, it is actually more work. I probably work more now than I did when I was a solo agent here. But going back to it, so I'm doing the same thing. I'm just, I'm on the phone at least 4 hours a day. I'm prospecting for listings for a couple hours a day, and then trying to network with agents and set up coffees with agents to talk about our model. But it's the same thing. It is, I pick up the money machine.
So that's, and what I'm hearing you say is that people that are making money are willing to do what others either can't or won't. And I say can't. I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean I agree. I struggle with the can't part. I think it really comes down to won't. I mean, if you're in real estate today, you can pick up the phone.
I'm going to say one other thing also that I learned the hard way here is also making sure you're staring at your numbers all day long. So I got a friend that actually teases me because I stare at my profit loss. It's right there. It's on my screen and I'm staring at it, and I'm seeing that last month was not a good month. But I'm staring at that, looking at my expenses. Actually, Donnie has challenged me this month to drop $3,000 in my expenses, but not cut leads. So that's what I'm working on right now. That's my homework. So you got to watch the business. Don't buy the sexy zip code in Zillow just because you live there. All right, that's a great way to go broke,
dude. It's funny. I love that you just said that because Austin, there's a zip code. So in Washington State, he covers the whole state, right? For those of you that don't know, my son, he's a real estate agent in Washington. He's not
just real estate; he's phenomenal. He's crushing it.
Yeah, actually, I think he's the number one listing agent on the planet right now, to my knowledge. I'm not aware of anybody that's listed more homes than he has this year.
Sounds like a challenge.
And what's that?
That sounds like a challenge.
Oh, I would love to throw that gauntlet down for you. I'd love to see you two go head to head. Absolutely. Are you kidding? Yeah. You guys going head to head would not only bring the two of you a ton of value, it'd bring everybody else that gets to watch it a ton of value. I'd love to see that happen. That being said, I just remembered that Liz McDonald tried going head to head with him once too. And we all know how that turned out. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing, but you should do it. But where I was going with this was what you just said. So he covers all of Washington State in the high end area, kind of where Bill Gates lives and all the, the rich people live. That's up in that Bellevue East Side area, right? Mercer Island, all the way over to Bellevue East Side. And interestingly, I don't think Austin's buying any leads in that area. None. And the reason why he's not buying any leads in that area is because there's so much competition and there's just not enough. There's not enough ROI on the spend on the leads that he would be getting in that area to make it make sense. And so I love that you just said, don't feel like you got to buy the sexy zip code in whatever lead source it is, because I think that's what a lot of people think they need to do. Truth is, that's probably the opposite of what you need to do.
Actually, just this month, I cut my Zillow spend up because spend down, and it's because they keep raising their prices here. So I mean, we talk about Zillow. There's other lead sources out there, so I'm not trying to throw them under the bus. But the beauty of Zillow is they're going to tell you this is the average sale price out there. They're going to flat out say our average closing percentage is 4%. So it takes 25 leads to close a deal. 4% means 1 out of 25 will be turned into a transaction. If you're average, maybe you're a little bit better than average. I know some people do some pretty cool numbers. And you know your average commission in that market, do the math. Does it make sense? Should I buy it or not? If I'm running the lead, I always said I want to make 5 times return on my investment, minimum 5. If I'm running the lead, if I'm handing it off to the agents, I need to at least make 2 times. I had to shift that. That's one of my shifts this year when I dove into wrong. What was going wrong is like start over. I cut off all the leads. We're going to start from scratch. And I said 5 times if I'm running the lead, at least, and 2 times if I'm handing it off to another agent there. And Zillow's 4% close rate. So do that math. So if that math works in those sexy zip codes, buy it. If that math does not work in the sexy zip codes, but works in a zip code that's, let's just call it not as attractive for whatever reason, buy that zip code. It's okay. It's really okay.
Yeah, I love that. But that's the thing. The problem, I think, is that people are not, I think a good chunk of real estate agents just don't understand their numbers or they're not tracking it properly. Now, I know you use the Club Wealth Stat Tracker, which is very helpful with that. And I'm glad you're using that. And I wish I could get more people using it. But you've got to understand what it costs to bring a lead in, what it costs to handle that lead, what it costs to convert that lead, what you make when it closes. And you've got to understand, what is my ROI on every single lead source? And if you're not doing that, I promise you, there are agents out there, most agents are throwing money away on a good number of their lead sources. And speaking of lead sources, by the way, Jason, before you jump in, I'm going to throw this out there. For those of you that would like, we've got a list. There's about 109 lead sources that we refer to our clients. I can give you guys a list of 31 of those, 31 of our favorites. If you're interested in getting a copy of our 31 favorite lead sources that we recommend to our coaching clients, just type in "send me the leads" in the Facebook comments here. If you'll just type in "send me the list of leads" or "send me the lead list" or whatever, then I'll send you a DM with a link to where you can get those. But Jason, go ahead. What were you going to say?
The other number you have to work in, a lot of times we just look at return on investment, especially if you're running a team in particular, maybe not as much as individual agents, is how long does it take for these deals to close? The cash conversion cycle is so important, and that's something that's overlooked. The nice thing about Zillow is our cash conversion cycle is just over 60 days for us. So, the return on it isn't great on them, but it is profitable. The beauty of it is it comes quick, as opposed to something like a Facebook lead, which will cost, this $4 or $5 in my market. It's not expensive, but they take 18 to 24 months to close. So, and it's great. I need to close deals in 18 to 24 months from now. I'm definitely going to need closings here in 2025 and 2024. But my model is like, hey, we're going to mix it up with all sorts of different lead sources. That way, make sure the agents, everybody are getting paid right now, but I'm still getting paid down the road. So our Facebook closings this month a lot of them are things I generated a year or so ago. And that's also why if you're running a team, it's so important to diversify. One other thing I just want to talk about Zillow here, and I got several agents in my market that I'm thinking of. I watch them on Facebook, and they close all these deals, and I know how much those leads cost. And I even had a conversation with one agent one time where she told me that if I don't close this deal, I can't pay my Zillow bill this month. And there's a lot of people just buying leads to pay to buy leads.
Yep.
Think about that. So you just got to be very, very careful. Dive into your numbers. It's just so important to make sure that you're turning a profit. And that's kind of back to the first question that you asked is how do you make sure you're making money? That's one of the ways I make sure that we're turning a profit is just making sure that we're not buying the sexy zip codes. Where our marketing is not buying that stuff here. Even my Google pay-per-click that I manage, I could get a lot more leads if I wanted to, but I got to keep my bids accordingly so I can make sure I'm getting my appropriate ROI on it.
Well, and to your point, by diversifying, you're able to make sure that the agents are fed today so that they don't starve, right? So they can make some money and get some closings, and stay in the business. But you're also got to make sure that you've got enough high ROI, which oftentimes means longer cash conversion cycle lead sources. But the ROI ends up being higher. because you have to nurture them for so long. But now, guess what? Now the company gets to finally start to make a little bit of extra money because the cost is lower than it would be for a lower ROI, faster cash conversion cycle lead source. So that diversification is really important. And knowing how to balance that is certainly very, very important. And frankly, that's a big part of what your coach should be helping you with. That's one of the things you need to be reviewing with your coach. You need to be having that conversation with your coach and ensuring that you're putting money where it should be put now, and that you're really analyzing. And this is where I think it gets really tough, because we get our egos in the way. And some of the times we look at stuff, whether it's a lead source or whether it's some other part of our business, we look at some of these expenses and we decide, I really need to have this expense. This is something that's necessary in my business. And the reality is it probably isn't as necessary as you think. And again, this is where I think it helps to have someone who's not you look at your P&L, someone who understands it, someone who is where you would like to be, which, all of our coaches are a tier above the people they're coaching. And really have them take a look at it and say, yeah, no, Jason, you shouldn't spend that. And it's funny because, Jason, you coach a lot of other people, and you're having that same conversation with the people that you coach, and it still helps you to have that conversation with your coach. True or false?
Well, one of my coaching clients today, that was some of our homework, was to cut silly expenses. That was the note I put in, cut silly expenses. Because there's a lot of we get $19.95 a month ourselves to death in this industry. Yeah. But at the same time, as I said earlier, Donnie, who's my coach, Donnie Morrow, my homework is to cut $3,000 in bills. So, and it's not easy. I'm telling you, because I have it all, and I'm stressing at it, and I've gotten $600 so far off. Hey,
it's $600.
But that's good. But that's part of coaching. So actually, the same advice I pass it on has been, and I'll find another $2,400 in there, and I'm going to have to do it without reducing my lead flow. That was my homework. So I got to find $3,000 of stuff to get rid of and not reduce my lead flow.
I love it. That's good advice. And here's the thing. Even if and I'll tell you, sometimes, and this is going to be hard for some agents to hear, sometimes it's not in your business that you're going to have to make those cuts. Sometimes it's in your personal life. Sometimes it's cutting the cable bill. Sometimes it's cutting eating out so much. Sometimes it's, maybe buying that new car, maybe getting rid of the car that you got and getting a cheaper one that you can pay cash for, and so you don't have a car payment. There's a lot of things that can be cut. Maybe it's just, I'm not going to drink Starbucks anymore. There's a lot of places that we can cut expenses and reallocate that money to make us more money. And so let's shift gears for a minute. And by the way, Susie, I will definitely get you that list. I appreciate you commenting. Anybody else that wants that lead sources list, just type into the chat that you'd like.
It's a great list, by the way. I know that list. I've seen the list. I do request it all the time, and it is. You want the list.
Yeah. We update it every year, and so we look at what's working, what's not working, and so we pull stuff off there and we add stuff onto it every year to make sure it's really the best lead sources list out there. And Susie, I think that Susie's saying, they become dependent on AI. She's talking about the agents getting even more lazy, and I think Susie, to your point, I think that's going to get worse too. I think as AI takes hold, and and our AI is going to hopefully continue to get better and better and better as well. And I think that as that trend continues, I think you're right. I think we're going to see a lot more agents get even more lazy. But Jason, I want to shift gears, and I want to talk to you about something that you and I debate from time to time. And you probably know.
Why am I nervous all of a sudden? I just got anxiety. I'm having a little bit of a panic attack right now.
Well, it's not fantasy football. I'm not going to give you a hard time about fantasy. So, but what I
can talk about, because that's proven. I can just print screen and show who's in first.
Hey, season's not over yet, brother. All right. That being said, I want to talk to you about, first of all, investing in real estate and investing in your business, right? So we've got all these agents out there that, there's some that are doing very, very well right now, and there's some that are struggling a little bit right now. I think a lot of people are tightening their belts right now. I think that's across the industry. I think most people are tightening their belts right now. And I get that. But what I really want to talk about is, should they be investing in real estate? Now, I'm a huge proponent of investing in real estate, and I know you're a huge proponent of investing in the stock market. And I'm going to share some advice that years and years ago.
Real estate. I own real estate.
Okay. Okay, so let's.
And I have been making offers. I'm just not. They haven't been good enough. So
Okay, but I'm very excited to hear that you're making offers. I really am, because you know how passionate I am about investing in real estate. I truly think that is the most predictable, simple way to build wealth in America today. That really anybody with a modicum of intelligence can do. I think it takes more intelligence to invest in the stock market than it does to invest in real estate. For what I consider to be not as good a return, I think you can get a better return in real estate. Now, this is where you and I have kind of diverged ways just a little bit in terms of our opinions on this. But before we go there, I want to share. So when I was younger, I was dating this girl, and her dad owned a steel mill. I was probably 18 at the time. And this guy was loaded. I mean, this guy had more money than anybody I'd met to that point in my life. And I asked him, I said, and I can't remember his name now. It kills me. I can't remember his name. I don't remember the daughter's name. I liked him more than I liked the daughter. Is that weird? I wish she was cooler, because, well, that's not true. I love my wife. I'm grateful for the woman I married. But I'll tell you, I would have been more interested in this girl if just because of her dad, because he was just so fun to talk to and so intelligent. And I asked him, I said, so do you invest in the stock market? Do you remember did I ever tell you what he told me?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he says, why would I invest in somebody else's company when I can invest in my own? And so what I want to ask you, Jason Lash, and most of the real estate agents that I know, that have invested in the stock market or in crypto or any of that other stuff that's not real estate, have had moments where they've done well, but more often than not, on balance, they don't do anywhere near as well as they could have if they would have just bought real estate. Now, you, Jason, are a lot more successful in investing in the stock market than most real estate agents I know, but you're also a really intelligent guy, and you watch it like a hawk. And so help me out here, man. Well, I'm seeing you're starting to buy some real estate. That's good. What do you think, man?
I bought real estate. I've had real estate on and off for about a decade. So I'm not anti-buying real estate as an investment. Okay. I want to make sure you understand that. Yeah. I have rentals. I have a rental at duplex. I led this weekend. I wrote 12 offers.
Wow. Good.
I got 0 accepted, but I have no problem sitting there watching football and just throwing offers out there and seeing what happens. And see what sticks. I'll do that all day long. So I'm not anti-buying real estate. I feel that's important to diversify. And I want more than one type of investment. So, and I do like stock market too. So I made some trades today, and I did pretty good today already. And just took me a few minutes. And I made money today. So, but that works too. It all works. You can just put your money in trust and get a 9% return on investment if you just want to do that. But yes, I enjoy the stock market. I have studied it. I don't know everything. I don't think I'm nearly as smart at it as you give me credit for. I appreciate that. There's a lot of people a lot smarter, and I like to read what they're doing and try to duplicate that as much as I can. But I like stocks, and I do like real estate. It is nice to have that steady stream of income. I'm going to also say there's risks in both. I don't feel real estate is as risk-free as a lot of people think.
Okay, but what's more risky, real estate or the stock market? What would you say has got more risk?
You won't like my answer.
I want to hear it.
I think the stock market, I would say, is less risky.
You think the stock market is less risky than real estate?
Well, buying rentals. We'll say buying rentals. It seems like every rental I buy, I at some point I'm going to have to put $20,000 to $30,000 into it.
Fair. Okay. I would, and by the way, I don't disagree with that. I think that
if I'm renting it out, let's say $1,200 a month, and I have to keep putting $20,000 to $30,000 into it when tenants move out to remodel, to repair, do all that other stuff there. And you can turn a profit, and I do really well in real estate too. I like real estate. I want to go back to that, but that's something I've ran into multiple times. Like, here's another $25,000. So I got one rental right now. I know it needs a roof. That's going to be $8,000 to $10,000. I'm going to have to put into that thing on that roof. And I'll probably do it sometime next year. We're profiting about $1,100 a month on it. Do the math. So am I going to make money on it next year? It's tough. It's tight. Okay.
Okay, but let's back up. I appreciate that. I really do.
Thank you.
And I think that it's hard when you have one rental or maybe even 2 or 3 rentals. But when you've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 rentals, Now you've reached economies of scale. And, you don't have, it's not that every one of them has these issues every month. Or
at the same time. I know a guy that just bought some real estate in Chicago and got a $50,000 assessment.
Hey, I had one. Okay, let's talk horror stories. I had one just in the last few months where there was they put a red tag on a project that we were doing. We were fixing a railing, porch, and whatever. It doesn't matter. We took a rotted back deck off this house, and we were going to install concrete steps. Well, they red tagged it, and come to find out, this city also, it was in Chicago. Was fining us. These little cities in Chicago are the stupidest rules. They were fining us $750 a day until we acknowledged it. Long story short, $50,000 fine, and they never notified us. They never called us. They never sent us a letter. They never sent a certified letter. They never did anything. No contact whatsoever. And when we fought that and we said, hey, wait a minute, you guys got to tell us. You got to say, oh, no, we don't. We don't have to. So I get that. But get this.
Just real quick, Mike, how much do you rent that place out for? Do you know off the top of your head? I know you got several rentals. What do you think?
Month. I know.
Yeah, what's your profit every month off that property?
Profit every month on that house right now is $1,200 a month profit. But watch this. Hold on now. It's not over because I'm not paying a $50,000 fine. Because I'm married to Tara Hellickson, who's an amazing negotiator, and she's hard to say no to. And Tara got it negotiated down to $15,000, which still sucks. And it means I just lost a year's worth of income on that property. I did.
So you did. So hopefully nothing that goes wrong and you don't have any vacancy in that home this year, and nothing else happens.
But here's the thing. But guess what I got? What I still get, even though I lost the profit, the cash flow, the monthly cash flow on that property for the next 12 months, guess what I got? I got my mortgage paid down every month. I got the appreciation that's happening on the property. And the biggest one of all, I got the accelerated depreciation tax deduction on that property, which has allowed me to not have to pay taxes. And you start looking at the benefits, it far exceeds just the cash flow. And that's where I get that there's some risk. And if I only owned one property, then yes, that would be a concern. Unfortunately, we own lots and lots of properties. And so the others make up for that when you have those moments. And at any given time, you're not going to have 50% of your portfolio have a major problem. That's just unrealistic, right? And so I guess...
So you should diversify your portfolio is what you're saying.
Okay, now I know where you're trying to push me. I know where you're taking me.
I don't own one stock either, by the way.
But yes, I agree with you. I think that it's important to get diversified. Now, I'm not going to say buy as many as possible as fast as possible, only because I want, to your point earlier, I want people to remember they have to have reserves. It's very important to maintain reserves, regardless of whether you're investing in the stock market or investing in real estate.
Absolutely. That
being said, you want to get to 10 properties as fast as you can, because, even if you get to five's pretty stable, but you really want to get to 10 properties, that cash flow, and you want to buy for cash flow. And I think the really where you're going, Jason, just like there's lots of different ways to invest in the stock market, there's lots of different ways to invest in real estate. And I'm a fan of some and not a fan of others. I don't love, like flipping property to me. That's just active income. That's like having a job and you take that active income and you want to buy stuff that you're going to keep for a long time. I also don't believe in buying for appreciation.
Yep.
Right? Because if you're buying for appreciation, at some point in time, there's going to be a hiccup in the market. It's going to bite you. And a lot of these gurus online right now are starting to feel that. In fact, one of our clients, or it might have been one of our coaches, was telling me that they just bought a property or listed one. I can't remember if it was bought or listed. And this guy was losing 600 of homes to foreclosure. 600 homes to foreclosure.
That's appreciation.
Dude, that's crazy. That's exactly what he did. He was, times were good and the market's never going to go down, right? I mean, why would there ever be a problem? And so, he was living in dreamland. So, Jason, bottom line, what I'm hearing you say is, yes, you believe in buying real estate. You also believe in buying in the stock market. Can you give me a percentage? Like, what's your gut? Or do you know an actual number of what, if what your portfolio in stocks has done in the last decade versus, I'd love to compare that to my portfolio in real estate over the last decade in terms of percentage growth, cash on cash return.
I may see, since I switched to a new platform, I can look it up. I'm not going to bore you on this call here, but since I switched to a new platform, I'm going to say I switched this platform. I moved to E-Trade just for whatever reason. So, and since I moved to E-Trade about probably 6 months ago, I'm up about 20%. Cash or cash. I got about 20% more cash than I did about 6 months ago. The market's been phenomenal the last 8 weeks or so. Since September was rough, but market's been really, really good the last couple months. So, but I'm probably a little less than 20%. I'm going to go conservative at 15.
Okay, so
I'm very active in though. It's not passive for me. I want to make that very clear. I got to touch that thing.
So that again, I appreciate that transparency there. So here's the big question I've got to ask you: if you could go back in time, and you could, let's say you could go back a decade ago,
right,
and you had to make a choice. You had to either buy real estate or you had to buy stocks, and you didn't know what was going to happen in the future, right? You only knew, in other words, you can't say, well, I know Microsoft's going to go up this much, so I'm just going to put all my money in Microsoft, and we'll see how it goes. That's not an option. You're not clairvoyant. You just get a chance.
Can I take away the option also knowing that real estate's going 10 years ago that real estate's going to stop crashing and not appreciate?
Yeah, you don't know either one. If you go back a decade ago, which would you do? Not, if you didn't have knowledge of what was going to happen in the next decade.
I'd still diversify. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time going off the diversification.
I love
hard time with that.
I love it. I
might not have done. I might not have gone to Vegas though and played craps that one night.
Which I think is like playing the stock market. I think playing the stock market is gambling. Unless you're, and let me say this, you are very intelligent about how you manage your stocks and how you invest in the stock market. So that being said, I won't belabor the point. What my message to everybody watching this would be is that I am a huge fan of investing in real estate. It's very predictable. It's very
me too, by the way. I love investing in names. Just keep investing. Do something with your money. Get your reserves. Put it someplace. Don't let it sit in your bank account. Yeah. And got compound interest. We all need to have compound interest. Real estate, wherever it has to be, you got to do something with your money. We're not going to save ourselves into a good retirement.
And I'm glad you said that. And I like the way you said that because, one of the things, and this is possible, if someone's really intelligent and is investing the way you are in the stock market, then they could take, if they don't have a lot of money right now, maybe they don't have enough to go out and start investing in real estate just yet, with putting normal down payments down. Obviously, there's ways to buy for nothing down and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to get into too much of that. But at the end of the day, what you could do is you could start, kind of putting some money aside in the stock market so you can get a little bit of capital out of that and then take that money and invest it in real estate later. I just think for most people, it's unrealistic that they're going to get the kind of return.
With these 12 offers I made, the plan was to take money out of my stock market and to put it into real estate, but because I need more diversification there. I wasn't taking money anywhere else. That's where I was planning on funding it with some of my profits from the stock market and move it over.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I think that's great. Okay, so last thing I want to share, and I want to be respectful of your time, Jason. I know that you need to go, and I appreciate you being on as long as you have, but I want to ask you, what is your advice to everybody watching today? I think, the vast majority of the people that are watching right now are real estate agents. And so what is your message to the real estate world? We've got, and before you answer, let me give some context. We've got interest rates that are probably going to continue to go down at least a little bit more and have already come down quite a bit. We've got real estate agents that have gotten out of the industry in droves and that have either, are out completely or at least have gone part-time, dual career. And we've got lawsuits that have happened like crazy that have a lot of people scared, a lot of people concerned about, is this career going to even exist in another, 24 to 48 months? What do you think? What's your advice?
I'm going to go back to, and this could be a long conversation here, and neither you and I want to do another hour on this, but you got to control your controllables. And this is going back to what we're talking about. I don't care where you're at in your career, if you're a brand new baby agent, if you've been in the industry for 1,000 years, if you're like me trying to still grow a team, or even Donnie, who's got 60 agents team, it's all about habits. It's all what time are you going to get up in the morning? What are you going to do with your day? Our health, our income, and everything is a reflection on our habits. And so it's that simple. It's that basic. So control what you can control. I can't control the lawsuit. I can control about maybe move some money into trusts and stuff like that, which is something I'm doing just to be safe. That's smart. But then what I got to do is I got to go sell homes. If I'm going to sit there and read about this all day long, that's a bad habit. It's going to affect my mindset. If I'm going to sit there on social media all day and read about wars and fight politics and all this other stuff, and that's, again, bad habit, affects my mindset. If I get up in the morning and do what I have to do for marketing, for social media, turn it off here and get on the phone for 4 hours, that's a money-making activity that's a lucrative habit. So it's, again, stick to, we've talked about this before. I know it's almost getting cliche. Stick to the basics. You got a money machine. We all got money machines. Use it. We all got 6-figure jobs. Go cash those checks. And it's up to us.
Mm-hmm. What you're saying, so somebody that's watching right now that says, well, I haven't made 6 figures. What you're saying is, no, you have a 6-figure job. Whether you're making 6 figures or not, you've got a freaking 6-figure job. You just got to go get it. You got to get into the right habits.
That's all it comes down to. Yeah. So the challenges I had this year were a reflection on my habits I had last year. It's my fault. I can point fingers and all that, but if I had different habits last year, I wouldn't have closed 100 less transactions this year if I would have maintained my habits. I got fat and comfortable. If I had better lifestyle habits, I'd probably weigh 180 pounds. It's all habits. It's all habits. Everything is our habits. So and we can even probably keep going into our personal relationships or whatever. It's about habits.
Yeah, I agree. Jason, love it. And so Jason Lash, everybody, tier 5, 250 to 500 transactions a year in Michigan. He covers the entire state of Michigan. So those of you that would like to send him referrals, I know he would appreciate it. And Jason, how would someone get a hold of you if they want to just pick your brain, send you a referral, whatever? How would they get a hold of you?
We've talked about social media is a great way to communicate with me through a private messenger there. But you can also call me on my personal cell phone. I'll tell you what, I'll go a step further. If anybody not just send me a referral, if you have any questions about real estate, if you need help, shoot me a message. My personal cell phone is 616-821-1350. Welcome to shoot me a text. I'm happy to help out. Obviously, I welcome referrals, but I'm having so much fun coaching over the last few years. Whatever I can do to give back to the community, I'm happy to help. And this has been fun, Michael. I appreciate this. I appreciate this opportunity to talk.
No,
I love the sound of my own voice, so you give me a platform to listen to my voice. So this is great.
No, but I think a lot of people get a lot of value out of these, and we get a lot of great feedback. In fact, I got a lot of flack for not, because we discontinued the podcast for a period of time, and I had a lot of people kind of give me some flack about that and say, hey, man, you need to bring the podcast back, bring Club Wealth TV back, and so we have. And Jason, 2 more questions I have for you, real quick. Just if you could just really quick. The Club Wealth half-day events. I know you're a big fan of those. Tell me why you like the Club Wealth half-day events. Why should somebody attend? And I'll say, tell me both with half-day and the full-day events, but start with half-day and then maybe mention the full-day ones.
I mean, you were just here, Michael, so... First of all, I get a lot out of listening to your presentations. You did the blueprint in Grand Rapids, and that's a phenomenal presentation. So if Michael's coming to your market to do the blueprint, you got to go see that. I took notes, and you've coached me personally, and even I'm back there with my notepad writing a few things down, and agents on my team are actually holding me accountable, like, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing this? So it was great for me. It's great for the community, great for the real estate community in Grand Rapids. We don't have opportunities to have people like you come to Grand Rapids. I can't even think of the last time someone has came to Grand Rapids a real public speaker. So it's awesome for the community. It's all that gives you an opportunity to give back to real estate agents. From a business standpoint, it's a phenomenal networking opportunity. I've leveraged it I'll be honest, I've leveraged it to grow my team. So there are agents on the team that I first met when you come to Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
So it was great. And from the last time you're here, I do have one agent. We do have a brand new agent that was there that pulled me aside and said, I'd like to talk to you. And he is on the team now. He's been on the team for about a week. So
that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
If you're a coach, you got to have Michael to town. And if you're, I know you have an events calendar on your website. So if he's coming to your town, if Michael's coming to your town, gotta go. You gotta go.
And to find those events, guys, just go to clubwealth.com/events. And Jason, final thing, 30 seconds or less. Why coaching? Why coaching with Club Wealth?
You only give me 30. I'm down to 25 seconds. There's a lot of things at Club Wealth. I could go on and on and on here, but I'm down to 20 seconds now. So first of all, the community is huge. I was talking to Liz right before our conversation with Liz McDonald here, and I got to send her a message back. So we're talking about different, we're talking about hierology, to be honest with you. Her and I are having a conversation. I love the fact that I have a network of good friends that are high producers that I can bounce ideas off of. And we were in the car in Seattle. I even told you, Michael, it's almost weird. If I had and I actually personally recently did have a personal health scare. Guess who I talked to, just like I went to any other friend? It's like, oh my gosh, I have a problem and I want to talk to, they're my friends. So the community, the network in the community, it's a special place. It's something I don't even know how to explain. The coaching's phenomenal. I tripled my business without working more hours since I joined Club Wealth. Is that not enough right there to get you to join coaching? So, and on top of it, if that's not enough, we get referrals.
Yeah.
That's all.
25,000 this year, by the way. Isn't that crazy?
It's a line item. It's something I track in my CRM. Club Wealth is actually a line item in my CRM. So
you're talking about a line item for positive income. Yeah, so an income.
Yeah, no, it's a line for lead sources. We track it lead sources. So it is a line item in there. So, and by the way, if you get into it, you should probably at some point seriously consider being a coach. I will tell you, I've learned more from coaching people like Virginia Corbett, from Dawn, from Kelly Licky. I get to sit there and look at their system all the time and like, oh, that's interesting. Actually, Dawn Sharp, she's supposed to send me some Excel spreadsheet stuff that she's doing right now. I was like, that's pretty freaking cool. Send that to me. Let me coach you.
That's awesome. I love it.
It's great.
And that's great. There's so much to be learned, especially if you're focused on learning. So awesome. Jason, want to be respectfully attend. Thank you so very, very much.
Thank you, Michael. It was fun.
I can't wait to see you next time I get to see you.
%. Yeah, that's the percentage of all real estate agents that get in the business today that'll be gone in 2 years. Let me tell you something. Why is there so much turnover in real estate? Because it isn't easy. And because most people don't know exactly what they need to do to get to the next level. Now look, regardless of whether you're brand new to the industry or you're a team leader, you've got 40 people on your team and you just want to get to the next level. If you're doing 10 transactions a year, you want to get to 25. You're doing 500 transactions a year, you want to get to 1,000. You're at 1,000, you want to get to 10,000. Let me tell you something. You need the right coach. Why? Because Club Wealth is the only coaching company on the planet that will literally guarantee that you will double your income or make at least an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, or we will give you 100% of your investment back. This is for people of all levels. Click the link below, sign up for the appropriate tier level, and let's get you a strategy session today. And I promise you, I 100% guarantee you, promise you that you will walk away with a heart full of gratitude for the time that we took for you because you got so much value out of that call. Schedule your strategy session today. I promise you'll be glad you did.